So, now, speaking of a gentleman that is on the couch there on the right, he has his own lawsuit right now, which people are saying is pretty much a bullshit lawsuit. People are saying it's a bullshit lawsuit. I don't have the actual lawsuit because you have to go on Pace Monitor to find it. I'm not paying $50 for a lawsuit. You literally have to pay for Pace Monitor membership for a year at the least, which is about $50. I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that just to read a lawsuit that people are saying isn't even factual. So I'll just read a couple of things from these websites here. For example, Los Angeles Times has it up here. Now, I did find the one where Joey is suing him back, but I don't have the one where Terrence Dixon, the hype man, is suing Joe just yet. So earlier in the week, I want to say, Fat Joe got into a $20 million lawsuit with the gentleman by the name of Terrence Dixon, who claims he's been doing some Diddy-like stuff back in the days. So Terrence T. Dixon, once a hype man to rapper Fat Joe, has sued his former employee for $20 million, making some allegations that might blend right into Sean Diddy Combs' RICO sex trafficking trial. The federal lawsuit, filed Thursday in U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York and reviewed by the Times, alleges that the rapper underpaid Dixon, cut him out of promised pay for contributing to album tracks, defrauded authorities about his income, ditched Dixon in foreign countries without money or transportation home, and is running a criminal organization built on intimidation and violence. The lawsuit alleges that Fat Joe forced the hype man, a sort of backing vocalist who pumps up the audience, into approximately 4,000 sex acts with women in front of him and his crew. Now, that was the part that stuck out to me. That was like, okay, huh? He made you have sex with women in front of him and his crew? I was like, well, that just sounds like y'all were just having orgies. That's literally what that sounded like. Y'all were just having a bunch of tour orgies. That was the first thing that caught my attention, was the number. Also was I'm like 4,000 sex acts. I'm like, something doesn't sound right there. And then the 54-year-old rapper, born Joseph Antonio Cartagena, is also accused of having sexual relationships with girls who were 15 and 16. Now, the crazy thing is, it's not the first time I heard about that one. That one came from Cuban Link, which I'm gonna play his clip in a minute of him responding to this. That one actually came from that rumor came from Cuban Link, of him sleeping with the teenage girls. That's the wild part about this lawsuit, is that there is one, like I said, one or two factual things that you would say you could see Fat Joe doing, I should say. The allegations go back to when the rapper was in his late 30s. The lawsuit says Fat Joe's song "She's My Mama," which has graphically sexual lyrics, was based on what is alleged to have happened with him and one of the girls in real life, the lawsuit says. The lawsuit states that Dixon's roll over about 16 years was more than of the usual hype man. He consistently had duties that included co-writing lyrics, structuring hooks, recording background vocals, performing at more than 200 live shows at Fat Joe's primary on-stage counterpart, and managing travel logistics, including equipment, transport, security, and emergency arrangements. The complaint alleges that Dixon also acted as Joe's bodyguard and handler during tours. According to the filing, Dixon wrote or co-wrote tracks including "Congratulations," "Money Over Bitches," "Ice Cream," "Cupcake." It's crazy how it's put together. "Ice Cream," "Cupcake," "Blackout," "Dirty Diana," porn star, okay, no problems, a version of All the Way Up, 300 Brolic, All I Want to Do Is Win remix, Red Cafe remix, Winding on Me, Coca Baby, and Get It for Life. Which I can also see that, like I said, that's the second thing that stood out to me. I'm like, Fat Joe never has really been, he's never been the biggest lyricist. So I would see if someone being a ghostwriter for him or giving him reference tracks to help him out, because like I said, he's not the biggest lyricist. So for him to have like the A1 rap lyrics or whatever like that, it's never been a thing with Joe. Joe just always had a good voice. He's always had a good voice. I call him the Rihanna of rap. I call Fat Joe the Rihanna of rap because he just had the good voice. He never really had the lyrics that were just, ooh, wow. He never had that. But the complaint alleges that Dixon was not properly paid for his efforts, even though he says he was promised certain ownership percentages and documented credit on songs that Fat Joe released commercially. Dixon, who left Fat Joe's team in 2020, was unable to obtain certain evidence of wrongdoing until a person named as Accountant Doe came forward last year with information, the lawsuit says. So pretty much is a person that he's not saying the name. I've never heard of Accountant Doe, or Jane Doe, John Doe, never Accountant Doe. This is the first one. So pretty much someone that came to him with all the information that, you know, hey, you weren't getting paid for this, that, and the third. You should sue him, and you know, you guys aren't on tour anymore. And Fat Joe's not even doing music anymore. You know, you should sue him, try to get your money back. That's pretty much where this came from. Fat Joe exercised sole control over contracts, budgets, tour management, licensing, and credit attribution, and intentionally omitted plaintiff's name from liner notes, publishing registrations, and royalty structures, despite plaintiff's direct contributions to these works' creative and commercial success. The complaint says Joe Tacopina, an attorney for Fat Joe, called the lawsuit a blatant attack of retaliation and labeled the allegations complete fabrications, and that his clients denies in a statement to Variety retaliation referred to the slander lawsuit that the rapper filed against Dixon in April after the former hype man accused him on social media of flying a 16-year-old across the state lines. And that's this lawsuit right here that got filed back in April, where Joe sued Dixon. This one right here. But that's literally all it was him pretty much suing him for defamation. Now, this one threw me off because I'm still trying to figure out if this is something that hasn't surfaced yet, or is it old? But look, this looks like a federal indictment on Fat Joe. And like I said, it hasn't come up yet. I don't see anybody talking about it just yet, but it says here, defendant having waived an open court prosecution by indictment, having waived any objection to venue, the United States Attorney of the District charges failure to make tax return. Okay, so this is the one where the feds were coming to him on tax invasion. Okay, that's what this is. I was trying to figure out what this was, but this is the tax invasion indictment, where they were trying to say that he failed to pay his taxes. And Dixon's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, is also representing producer Little Rod in a $30 million federal lawsuit filed against Diddy and others in Combs' orbit, in which Little Rod alleged that sexual harassment and assault was against Diddy. Both lawsuits include trigger warnings in bright red type ahead of the allegations, something not often seen in such documents. Fat Joe is Sean Combs minus the Tusi, he says. Blackburn said in a statement to The Independent, he learned nothing from his 2013 federal conviction. The attorney added, referencing Fat Joe's 4-month sentence and $15,000 fine in a plea deal to failure to, that's what we just read, the facts, failure to file a tax return in multiple years. In addition to Fat Joe, defendants in the lawsuit include Peter Pistol Pete, which Pistol Pete's a very credible person from Rikers, Rich Player, Erica Juliana Moriera, and several companies, including Rock Nation, that are affiliated with the rapper. Dixon is asking for a jury trial. Crazy how much shit Rock Nation is actually involved in nowadays, as far as lawsuits go. And I'm just getting an overall bad rep and name now. From the Tory Lane situation, we're gonna get into Desiree Perez, of course, but just different situations right now that's happening around Rock Nation also, that you just have to take notice to and say, I wonder. Now, this is the old article here from April, in which Joe was suing the hype man. And it was because of things like this. It was pretty much stuff like this that he was putting out. This is the dance the sucker do after getting his ass licked. Don't have too much fun on somebody else's yacht. You fat, soggy, titty, taco, meat, stomach. You ain't no Don, nigga. Fuck out of here. You are the number one sucker. He's pretty much saying that Joe was doing some very Diddy-like things, in a sense. Now, let me also say that, okay, we've all been around the block around here, right? Said Fat Joe was hiding behind Big Pun till he passed away. I can see that. I can see that as well. Why didn't he file a report with police at 3 times? Well, it's the same reason why you would ask the same thing about like a Little Rod. Why didn't they file a police report at the time that it was happening? It's mainly because of your fear of what could be done to you and that nobody's going to believe you. So these lawsuits that are coming out now are before, they were believable. It's before they were believable. Icon Vonnie, what's going on? What's going on? We're on Joey Badass? No. Definitely not on Joey Badass. Yeah, definitely Joe got to pay them taxes. I ain't been around the block. I've been across the street though. But no, like I said, it's more of a thing where, like I said, you seen them all with some of these things, and reason why I say that is because, like, for example, right, who's a right hand man to Fat Joe that we know for sure, or should I say, have heard allegations of, right? If we're talking about, who might have seen some things or been around some things or even did some things with them, the only person that you're going to think of is this guy right here to the right. Khaled and Joe have been friends for eons. As you see here, Khaled in the middle, Pun, Joe. Can I go to the whole picture right here? Yeah, when they said happy birthday to each other. They've been with each other for years. Khaled and Joe. You see Khaled with the Terror Squad chain. He was a DJ for Terror Squad at one point. So if it's anybody, that has probably seen some things or even been involved in some things, it's, two birds of a feather flock together, as they say. And if we know and can confirm Khaled has been doing things, we can definitely say that Fat Joe has possibly been involved in some things. We can definitely confirm now if we're, like I said, that's what I said, the whole thing about being around the block around here. If we know one thing about Khaled, then we definitely know about, we can definitely say that there are some things that could be true with Joe. Not saying the lawsuit is all the way factual, but there are some things that could be. Okay, so this was another post where the guy was actually going at Joe, saying you smashed Erica Mena, your man's baby mom sucker, because she was throwing it at you. And I told you once again, chill. She's trying to put you at odds with her boyfriend. For you to entertain that or think about it was super foul, and you call yourself a brother. I'm in the real book. Fat Joe, didn't you make massive aggressive threats to me, try and put fear in my heart? Didn't you tell me there's no life outside of Terror Squad? And I see what you did to Cuban Link with blackballing him. Didn't you admit to me that you got his face cut? People, please understand this is deep and very personal, which I'm going to play that the second too. I meant to get that. The Cuban Link one where he talked about Fat Joe got him jumped or whatever. Fat Joe, didn't you say Cuban was foul because he so-called slept with Pun's wife, which wasn't true, but you see the narrative you was trying to push to destroy his image. But what you about? But what about you? Fat Joe, the longer this goes on, the nastier it's going to get. For real, I'm not playing with you. Fat Joe, once again, he reported my account. It's in investigation mode. Did I not give you a fair shot to make this right? But the greed in your heart wouldn't allow you to do what's right. You can't stand to see another man shine, especially the ones that really helped you and deserve to be taken care of. I can't lie, it hurts my heart to see. Like I said, this was all the way back in April when this happened, and Joe ended up suing the hype man. But now there's a big $20 million lawsuit against Joe. And like I said, I can't necessarily get it. I'll show you guys again. Whenever I try to look at it, I get this big ass ad here. So again, that is why I did not get the lawsuit, because I'm not paying $50 or $100 to get this goddamn lawsuit, and people are saying it might not even be real. So anywho. And just so you know ahead of time, the same thing with the Hadley Perez, the Desiree Perez one is pretty much behind a paywall with Pace Monitor. So Fat Joe sued for $20 million by former hype man. Explosive complaint. This is a more detailed one here I wanted to read. Well, no, it's not more detailed, but it's just the same article. Pretty much the same article, but it just details what the what's inside of it. It's a 157-page document, of course. For 16 years, Dixon served as Fat Joe's so-called hype man, common figure in hip-hop. Claims he wrote those records, of course. It's the same thing the LA Times is pretty much writing, just this one is a little bit more detailed. Most shockingly, the suit claims that Dixon personally witnessed Fat Joe engage in sexual relations with children who were 15 and 16 years old, and lists three such Jane Does, including a 16-year-old Dominican girl. I don't know why that's doing that. A 16-year-old Dominican girl in New York who, in exchange for cash, clothing, and payment of her cell phone bill, will perform oral sex and other sexual acts on the rapper Minor Doe 2 is a Caucasian female and not a United States citizen. Fat Joe began having sexual relations with Minor Doe 2 when she was 15 years old after a concert overseas. Defendant flew Minor Doe 2 to New York City and Miami, Florida on multiple occasions due to Minor Doe 2's body being adolescent and not fully formed. Defendant paid for her to get a Brazilian butt lift. Minor Doe 2 eventually left defendant and is now married to a professional athlete. The complaint says Minor Doe 3 is a Latina female who met the defendant when she was 15 years old and turned 16, according to. Now, the other thing that with that, when I keep seeing the minor girls, right, I keep wondering to myself, okay, if this happened to like a Gloria Velez and other young models, what's to stop it from happening with a Fat Joe? You know what I mean? You can definitely see something like this being very factual, especially if we're talking about the times that we're in. You know what I mean? The later 2000s and whatnot, in the 2000 teens. Okay, no pun intended. Damn, it's crazy how that works too. No pun intended. If we're thinking about those times, right? Girls definitely, look a little bit more developed than they did back in like the 90s or even earlier 2000s. So I can definitely see, like I said, something like this happening. And then, like the guy says, Fat Joe says, okay, well, this one wasn't too developed, so let's go get her a Brazilian butt lift. To get a girl a Brazilian butt lift for 15 is crazy work. Crazy work. Fat Joe is represented by celebrity criminal attorney Joe Tacopina, who was defended everyone from A$AP Rocky and Donald Trump in high-profile cases. Tacopina responded to the lawsuit, saying in a statement, the lawsuit filed by Tyrone Blackburn and Tyrone Dixon is a blatant act of retaliation. We read that podcast. Law enforcement is aware of the extortionate demand at the heart of the scheme. The allegations against Mr. Cartagena are complete fabrications, lies intended to damage his reputation and force a settlement through public pressure. Mr. Cartagena will not be intimidated. We have taken legal action to expose this fraudulent campaign and hold everyone involved accountable. The statement continued. Defendants in the suit also include, like I said, Pistol Pete and Rich Player, who are also affiliates of Joe, asserting civil claims for violations of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act and racketeering. So pretty much it's another RICO. They're trying to hit Joey with. The suit additionally names Jay-Z's Rock Nation, claiming that the company, which represents Fat Joe, not only participated in concealing, transferring, and manipulating Dixon authorship rights and royalty interests, and sought to intimidate, harass, and obstruct the hype man's legit claims against Fat Joe Torres and Joseph. What's his name? Joseph Tyre. I guess I say Joseph Tyre. According to the lawsuit, the defendants engaged in deliberate tax fraud schemes in an effort to conceal their extensive wage theft, artificially inflate Dixon's tax liabilities, expose him to unwarranted tax audits and penalties, and systematically obscure the exploited labor. The complaint cites a whistleblower accountant who came forward last year, as well as recorded phone calls that helped paint the picture of the alleged misdeeds. The movement comes after Fat Joe sued Dixon in April for slandering him with defamation, of course, with the connections earlier of the 16-year-old flying a 16-year-old across state lines for sex. That suit also named Dixon's lawyer Tyrone Blackburn, claiming the pair tried to shake him down for a settlement. This is the right way to fight Joe. This is the right way to fight Joe through the system. You can't fight him no other way, Dixon tells Variety in an exclusive interview. Joe thinks he's God. Joe thinks he's untouchable. Dixon's suit again against Fat Joe goes much further than his social media posts and states that he endured a wide spectrum of sexual coercion, psychological control, forced exhibitionism, and surveillance-based humiliation, including being compelled to perform sex acts under observation, being filmed or directed by Fat Joe in the presence of others, tactics designed to control plaintiff's body, erode his autonomy, and ensure silence. It adds, these sex-based abuses were not private, incidental, or isolated. They were integral to the enterprise's culture of dominance and humiliation, trying to make it seem like he was Terror Squad was like another Bad Boy Records, pretty much, right? Enforced by defendants associates such as Pistol Pete, JB, and others, and sustained across numerous tour locations, including Miami, North Carolina, Germany, Spain, and Wisconsin. Thursday complaint, Dixon claims that the activity took place on Market America's corporate yacht and at its mansion properties, where Fat Joe orchestrated repeated orgies involving plaintiff, female dancers, and minors. Defendant used the lawsuit as the Fat Joe used his status as a hip hop star to compel Dixon and other into degrading sexual performances, often while Fat Joe watched, recorded, or directed the encounters. These incidents occurred under conditions that included the presence of corporate security staff, surveillance cameras, and defendants' management and entourage, yet no intervention occurred supporting the inference that these acts were facilitated by and covered up by the broader enterprise and its affiliates. The complaint continues Dixon did not willingly consent to participate in these acts. Instead, plaintiffs submitted solely out of fear of immediate retaliation, which defendant repeatedly demonstrated would include financial punishment, professional sabotage, abandonment in foreign countries, or physical harm. The suit also claims that Fat Joe also issued veiled death threats and witness intimidation via direct messages such as "You love your family, right? Fall back in 48 hours, and we let you live." So there's actual text messages in there as well. Though Fat Joe hobnobbed with some of the biggest names in politics, including then Vice President Kamala Harris, there was at least one brush with the scandal back in 2010. He and members of his entourage were detained and questioned after a University of Wisconsin student reported an alleged sexual assault following a performance at the city's Orpheum Theater at the time. Fat Joe's attorney called a woman a pretender groupie who was attempting to shake down the rapper for money. And so, like I said, this isn't the first time that Joe has, his run-ins with the law, or even being accused of having sex with younger girls. So you have to understand, like, this isn't Mean Gene. What's going on? What's going on with you? This isn't, like I said, one of the only things that go on in hip hop where sex trafficking, is major. It's more of a thing where, and I think I need to bring it up again too. It's more of a thing where these guys are pretty much, they're paid through doing these type of things, in my opinion, right? More so of like the Urdsley Dan tour that's on Diddy's back, right? It's more of a thing where these guys pretty much owe this shit, right? And that's how they get paid. It's literally how they get paid is by doing a lot of these, I guess you could say, criminal acts behind closed doors and making it seem like, they're just getting paid to do tours and whatnot, right? And just paid to do shows. In all honesty, they're getting paid through the higher ups and the elites for recording these things that they're actually doing, keeping it for blackmail, as well as, they're doing these type of things to keep getting paid and getting their money. So the underage girls, the sex trafficking and things like that, all that stuff is, funded by the elites in a sense, because not only do these girls get trafficked with the rappers, but they also then get trafficked by the higher billionaires and businessmen. That's how you start seeing all of these women get passed around in the same circles and whatnot. The Daphne Joys and the Young Miamis, all of them just get passed around in the same circles because there's higher guys up with money that want to pay for these girls as well. Let me see here. I haven't been able to look at the chat. Haven't been able to look at the chat much as I want to, much as I want to, much as I want to. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Medusa. If you guys would be so kind, definitely hit the Cash App there. Like I said, a brother is in great need, mainly because, like I said, we just got to the new place. So a brother would like to, get himself back and forth to work and keep the place. So that's literally what it's for right now. Cuban Link said Joe thinks he's a god too. Yeah, we're gonna play the interview also from Cuban Link here. Yeah, Jonathan Idu was putting shit together. We know crazy people crazy enough to tell the truth, just like to add their own seasoning. Yeah, that's why I said you have to remember that Fat Joe signed a DJ Khaled. Okay, so all these people ran the same circles together. You could definitely see Diddy, Fat Joe, and the Jay Z's all running together. In the beginning, Fat Joe, he was pretty much a defender of Diddy. In the earlier interviews, when the Cassie thing happened, he was saying that this is a shakedown, yada yada yada. We can't believe all this, and lo and behold, look who ends up getting their own lawsuit throughout the whole thing. It's actually him. So let me play the Cuban Link clip here of him responding to it.
So what we talking about here, if y'all don't get by now? The fat bastard, the one and only, the beluga, the one I like to call the beluga, the pale beluga whale.
I don't know what a pale beluga whale is. Let me see what that is. What is a pale beluga whale? What is a beluga whale? Because that is funny as hell. He keeps calling him beluga whale. So he's saying this is what Fat Joe looks like. He's saying this is what Joe looks like here. I can see it, I guess. I can definitely see it. I can see the beluga in Fat Joe. I can definitely see that. That's funny. The pale beluga whale, he calls him. But this is rapper Cuban Link. Now, some of you are or not, or may not be familiar with who Cuban Link is. Cuban Link is one of the first signees to Terror Squad. I don't remember how exactly. I think he's Pun's cousin. I think Cuban was Pun's cousin or something like that. And like I said, he's from the days of the Tony Sunshines and whatnot, like early Terror Squad. You know what I mean? So Cuban Link, pretty much, if anything, he's always had this animosity towards Joe. And we're going to play the clip in a second here of him explaining how the beef actually happened with Joe. Really because of how he got his face cut. I'll play that in a second here. But this is Cuban Link, someone, like I said, a former Terror Squad-E, talking about Fat Joe in the lawsuit.
Which his name is Joey Crack, a.k.a. Joe Petto now. Fat Joe. So in the complaint there, y'all seen the complaint? Y'all seen everything, right? I'm not making nothing up. So he got receipts when it comes to the young girls, the 15, 16-year-old girl, remember? She was 16, so let's let her give me head. So the grooming, he's the beluga groomer. He was the grooming beluga. Already, grooming her. I can't even understand. You can't even picture that. Hairy pale whale, blob, Jabba the Hutt, trying to get an innocent 15-year-old girl to do anything with him. Like, what the? I got a daughter. I just want to punch him in his mouth just for that. Just the thought that he invaded my head with just that thought. Because I believed him. So he got receipts on that, right? Then he got receipts on pistol. El pistolero. Pistol. Or some people call him Water Gun Willie around the way, my way. Others call him, what is it? I forgot some others. But anyway, Pistol P. I'm going to keep it respectful. I'm going to keep it cute. Let's keep it cute. Like he said. Let's keep it cute. Yeah, he's on telephone calls. Mr. Telephone Man Pete, something wrong with your line, cause you trying to threaten TA. And Percy recorded your ass on the line. Told me to chill, but you kept on talking and blah, blah. Now the feds gonna see. Oh my God. So this is where it gets crazy, right? Because now you got receipts, and now receipts are forced to come out because it's a lawsuit. And the lawsuit, that's what happened with Diddy, but Diddy was backwards because Diddy had the homeland first, then the feds, then all of that. But this guy, he's starting off as the civil, remember, because Cassie, she did the lawsuit first, the civil court. Matter of fact, it's the same way. She started to sit, but then they picked it up. You know what I'm saying? The helicopters saw from above. Homeland Security came down with the jets. And they did what they did to Diddy. And look what Diddy's at now. So this one started off with a civil lawsuit. I set the microphone on. Really, Joe set it off. In fact, Joe's the one who set it off. Try to keep TA quiet. That was his whole thing. Tries to shut him up so he doesn't, he couldn't be able to sue him and get his just due, his money that he, he's owed. That's why Fat Joe, he loved the money so much. He could have settled out of court already. Probably. He could have gave TA his little whatever and settled out, keep this away from the media. But no. Tacaño Joe. Tacaño. You don't know what that means? Cheap individual, right? Tacaño. He worships the money more than anything in the world. He protects it. He's the fat Daffy Duck. When the genie opened up, remember that cartoon? Daffy Duck was inside when Bugs Bunny opened the clam. Mine. Oh, mine. Oh, mine. That's the fat Daffy. Fat Daffy's, Joe. So he doesn't like to share. He doesn't like to pay people fair. He's thinking he's running a sweatshop. There's a Terror Squad sweatshop over there going on. Everybody's just, what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it was happening back then. But we started making money back then. So, what I'm saying? Us individuals, me, like Pun, me, myself, I was getting my own money because we was doing shows and we earned it. We was out there working. But he was getting money from us too. Pun was giving him 50%. I was giving him 20 for everything. Features, shows, everything. Remember that. But we don't get nothing from him, of course.
Now imagine that, right? Your Pun giving up 50% and Cuban also giving up the 20%. So that's like what? The 70% right there, right? So pretty much Joe is recouping his stuff, which is 100, but then you have the other 70% coming from the other guys, like pretty much just ripping everybody off. No, Cuban does not hold his tongue. You're right, Mean Gene. The pictures tell a lot from back in the day. They tell a lot.
So he been making money back then. That's when he started making money, but he still was the tacaño singao. You know what I'm saying? You could squeeze the eagle for you know what I'm saying? What did the Gotti movie say? Yeah, so where we at? I want to get caught, man. I want to get lost. Oh, yeah, so then, so they got the recordings. Pistol Pete, your voice is on there. What are you doing? You're slacking off, boy. So, yeah. Shout out to Percy, too. I understand he had whatever he had at the time, when, rest in peace and everything, but when he was alive, at the end of, you know what I'm saying, his term with the Terror Squad, and he found out that Joe was even jerking him and treating others, giving others more than him when he did, he deserved a lot. Percy woke up and he started helping TA because TA had the same mentality as him. So he helped TA with that. He put TA on point. They wanted to do harm to him. So he, he sided with TA because he had love for TA. You see what happened? Same thing with Charlie Rock. Charlie Rock at the end, he couldn't back this fat dude and trying to jerk lies in the kid, Big Pun's family. When he found that out, he was like, how you gonna do that? This fat beluga makes real individuals go, yo, how can you do that? That's when you know it's devil's work. It's the devil's work. When the real ones, the real criminals, real ones that do anything probably to get money, but these...
Hold on, because it's kind of crazy that he's saying that. See, people think that Cuban Link just be running his mouth, but if you think about what he's talking about, right? So he said Percy. He's talking about the old hip hop manager of Terror Squad. Who, Cuban? I can probably get Cuban. I can probably do that. I can probably DM Cuban and see if he did an interview. Even though nowadays it's like, if I was to ask him for an interview now, he probably want a lot more. He'd probably want more than I actually have to pay him for an interview. That's really why I haven't really been asking or DMing these celebrities for interviews. These niggas won't get paid. I ain't got the minimum $1,500, $3,000 that these guys got. I got rent to pay. So I'll definitely DM Cuban and see if he wants to come on. Like I said, I would not have any money for Cuban. I'd just say that. But yeah. Damn, that threw me off. What was I gonna say? Oh yes, the hip hop manager that he's speaking of, Percy. How he died is kind of crazy. So Percy Forest, legendary hip hop manager, right? He was fatally stabbed at a party in 2024. Now, what Cuban is saying is Percy, pretty much, this guy here, Percy,
a legendary figure in the Bronx hip-hop scene and longtime collaborator of rapper Fat Joe, was stabbed to death at a club in Queens. According to the NYPD, 55-year-old Percy Forest was stabbed in the chest outside the Agenda restaurant and lounge in Astoria earlier this month. He was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. We're told the suspect has been taken into custody and the charges are still pending.
So eerily, right? Eerily, just reading and hearing that, I'm like, okay. Let me see.
I was all the way in Dubai doing tours. Percy's wife goes to court and she calls me in Dubai and she says, yo, Joe, I went to court today and I was alone. Now, what was crazy is he won the case. Thank God he won the case. Shout out Don Florio, right? Attorney at law. He won the case and I couldn't imagine, not even you, I couldn't even imagine praying so hard every day because he about to go to jail for life for murder. To come out here and pretend like these ain't front on him and ain't show up at court, I would be very different.
So, long story short, it's kind of eerie that he gets stabbed just, I want to say, was it this November? November 24th last year. So just the end of last year is when Percy got stabbed. And now what Cuban is saying, that Percy put TA, the guy that Terrence Dixon, he's saying that Percy put him on to the fact that he wasn't getting paid. Right, very good question for you, B. What was a Fat Joe Philly even doing in Astoria? Number one. Two, he's 55 years old. What are you even doing out at this time? But like I said, Cuban Link is pretty much hinting at the fact that Percy was the one that even, started this lawsuit. He's the one that pretty much put Terrence Dixon on to him not getting paid, the royalties and yada, yada, yada. So it's kind of crazy that, and eerie to me, the timing of this. For Percy to get killed back in November and this lawsuit comes out April, June. See what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of weird.
Things that he be doing to like his own people, the real ones be like, yo, I'm not with you with that, homie. I can't do that. I'm telling you. Did that to me. I was like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And that's what's going on with it. Then he singles you out because you have a different opinion of him and you see him in a different light. Because you actually, like the Percys, the Charlie Rocks, myself, the TAs, we seen him as the devil he is. He showed himself to us. So now we like, we're rocking with you. You a devil, man. And that's when he starts his devil plan, and he gets everybody around the circle to blow him. All the blowfishes that he let in, now he puts them to the, yo, he's the enemy, he's the one. Look, he starts making those guys that finally saw him for who he is, which is the devil. The other little minion baloney smokers that follow him are still there, acting like they don't know what's going on, but they're all ganging up on one of their old teammates, which is one of the realest ones, Percy, Charlie Rock, myself. Like, we were real individuals, TA, niggas that put in work, I'm saying, inside that crew. And the people, the public had love for. But he don't like that public love for them guys, for us. He don't like that. He gets jealous. That's what the devil does. Anyway, The receipts are in, buddy. The lawsuit has been presented. You have been served. This is the novela. Yeah, there's gonna be novela. I don't think you get out of our sights now. We can't, like, this is gonna be a program that it's gonna be out there in this full capacity. Because remember, he's doing great with the Kiss and Crack, right? The Kiss and Crack show he got with Jada Kiss. The Kiss and Crack, I call it the Kiss and Crack. It's not Jada and Joe, it's Kiss and Crack, right? They doing, I think, good in the ratings and
That just doesn't even sound right. Kiss and Crack.
all the manipulations and the fake views that they be buying. It's working. You know what I'm saying? You can't hate. Not notice the fact that the people still hate his personality and how he overtalks and he wants to shine and this and that and how fake he is. So we all see that, but at least you're showing us that. But we like Jada and the way he handles himself, and it's viewable because of Jada. He kind of cancels you out. So regardless what it is, Jada's celebrity power is so big that it's working. What you was trying to do, let the people, the FBA, forgive you and take you back into the community, the hip hop community. It was working a little bit. It was, you know what I'm saying? Because they was keep force feeding us this, and they got their own lane. Really, it's him and that show, the Kiss and Crack show, and then it's the Mason Camp show. So, and the Gilly and Wallow, so it's not too many, names like that draws your attention. Like they're part of that, elite little podcast world. So they was getting views and it was getting passable. Like, every episode is like, yo, I hate this fact. Yo, he's lying. But then Jada comes with a little joke and, Joe plays his position as the fat clown that he is. And so he was working his way back into the public's hearts. But here comes TA, the legend, and here comes Karma. Because y'all might have forgot the fact that he did it to TA first. But now here comes Karma, which is already, the ball was already rolling, But bang, right when you thought you was getting up again, right, and be in the right situation, reality and truth comes back in the form of a lawsuit, in the form of a, time for you to say the truth. Your moment of truth, I like to call it. I made a song called The Moment of Truth back in the days. But this is really Fat Joe's moment of truth. Everybody gets their moment of truth, but this is the Beluga's moment of truth. Cojones. So yeah, a lot of receipts, man. A lot of receipts in this complaint. I read it. I didn't read it all, but it's a lot of language that I don't understand, but those words means a lot. They're used. They have big, giant words, and those kind of words is when you're really dealing with something that it's going to land you with 20 years in prison. You know what I'm saying? Things, when you start reading an affidavit or something or a paper, and you start getting lost in the words that they use, and then after that, big words is like a crime or, you know what I'm saying, the actual complaint. You'd be like, yo, this looks like it might have some time attached to it. And what I'm saying is, this is civil, but it has all the characteristics of the Cassie complaint. Same thing, even more, because that was just Cassie with the beat ups and the physical abuse and things like that. This one already comes prepared. The TA one comes prepared with the RICO part, with using the whole enterprise for this and Rock Nation and Pistol Peace phone call threatening, and me, they even used me for threatening, which I believe him too. I believe TA when he said, yo, they try to, when he got mad at TA, he say, what, if you get out of this circle, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna Cuban Link you, in other words, which means these beautiful scars, they became beautiful because I'm a beautiful individual, but these little betrayal scars that he never took credit for before. Remember, he was on an interview saying,
which now we're going to play that as well, because that's what Cuban Link is pretty much talking about. This is where Cuban Link's actual animosity comes from towards Joe, is how he actually got the cut on his face. So this is again to prove just how much, Cuban Link knows, but is possibly
Friday,
holding
April
back.
13th, 2001, the night of Angie Martinez's album release party. For those who don't know, tell us why that night is so significant.
Oh, that's the Devil's Night. Yeah, Friday the 13th already with that um being the night is crazy because I was over there to support a friend. It was Angie's Martinez album release. Um I was proud of her for working on that album. I helped. We had a relationship. Like I said, we was friends, so I was just there. Besides her being Angie Martinez, it was me supporting her friends, and she had a lot of friends. So it was an industry night. Her best friend is Mary J. Blige, and with that being said, I mean everybody that was somebody showed up that night. So it was gonna be one of those days and one of those nights, really hot nights in Jimmy's Bronx Cafe. That was our spot. The Terror Squad spot. Me, Joe's, Puns. We built a relationship with them that was special. And a business relationship too. Saying bringing new clientele in there and them treating us with love and making it like it's our club. It was that was stated already throughout years, about 2 years. So to have that day there for her, it was special for her. Me and Joe actually, we already had a dispute with, going separate ways as far as the business. That a meeting took place in his lawyer's office where all the double dipping and all that came out. He expressed his discomfort with me. He didn't really need me. He was doing it for a favor. The old story of, trying to make it look like he was the one that was hooking me up. So I didn't even argue. I just like, yo, listen, I could do bad by myself. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you don't want me to be here, yeah, we just separate ways. I could, I'm sure I could find somebody, so another poem that is gonna, nurture my talent and go wherever I wanted to go. Because I was paying him to be my manager also. It's not like he's doing it for free, So, that was disappointing to hear that come out of his mouth, but he was doing it on some personal shit. And, I got it, but I was still feeling a certain way, like, damn, all this time, I'm saying, to build this team together. Always been in my mind and real blood, sweat, and tears that I know I put my work into this crew and this career. So we left it like that. I was supposed to give him $300,000 next deal I get for his hard work that he did, I guess, for promoting me and getting me a deal, whatever. So I was supposed to give him 300. We left it. I was like, no problem. Then comes the Angie Martinez party. And it was funny to me because I was trying to get in there with my people because they didn't want to let me in first. Like the bouncers. And I was, what do you mean they don't want to let me in? They were saying it was I took capacity. So I kind of believed them a little bit because it was like a lot of people. So there was out capacity, but me, they didn't want to let me in my people. And I was thinking about the Joe shit, of course, but I wasn't gonna miss that, that party because of Joe. Show my allegiance to Angie, and that's my friend. I came there to support her, and I had a song with her in the album, the Jimmy's song, which was the place was Jimmy, so he was gonna perform it. She told me to go there so I could perform it, so that's why I showed up. So yeah, we walk in there. They didn't let my people in. The guy, Uncle B, that I told you, that the guy that believed in me and Pun in the beginning for Full Eclipse, he was with me. They didn't let him in. So you know what I'm saying? So I said, you know what? Let me just go in there, and then I could get in there. I could talk to Jimmy's himself, and I get my people in. So they only let me in with me and Sunkiss. It was another artist that was down with like Showbiz AG, and it was Pun's friend. And this is after Pun passed away already, and I broke up from the Terror Squad, and I was doing my thing. So they let me in with Sunkiss, and we go over there by our usual spot next to the VIP. Angie gets on stage, start performing some of her songs. So she told me, Cuban, come up here. And I was in the side. So I said, all right, cool. I went to the back of the stage. I walked up in there. When I walked up in the stage, Joe was performing with her on stage already. and she was doing a song with him, whatever. And I was waiting like behind him, not behind him where the crowd could see me, but like by the stairs. They have to walk down there. So when he finished his song, whatever, I was coming and I was trying to go get the mic, and this nigga Joe just dropped the mic on the stage. So he didn't hand me the mic. So he walks. He walks by me, but he walks like this, like, with his head down. He want to look at me. Then he was with Macho. No, matter of fact, when he walked by me like that, I said, yo, what's up, brother? What's going on, my nigga? I slapped him that. Bow. He walks, and I looked at Macho. Macho was like his caretaker almost. Like, the guy who wiped his sweat off. He was a guy from the terror squad, but, on stage, he wipes his sweat off. That's what he does. So he looked at, I know him very well. So he looked at me, and he was like really like disoriented. Like he didn't know what to say or do. So I already knew in my head, oh, this nigga putting people against me, just like he did in Connecticut. You know what I'm saying? I already know his MO. You know what I'm saying? He probably told them a story, whatever. But now I see the crew acting a certain way. So now I let it go, whatever, because I'm up next. So me and Sunkis get on the stage and we do Live at Jimmy's with Angie Martinez. The Jimmy's, Copacabana, some Spanish, merengue in Miami, whatever. But I wrote that song, whatever. So we killed it. Next thing you know, we get off stage. Angie sees us off. Yo, Cuban, whatever. The crowd go crazy. I walk now back into where I usually stay in Jimmy's, all the way to far end to the right, next to the VIP. Joe wasn't there. Some of the terror squad people was there. You know what I'm saying? I said, what's up to Flex and all of that. They looked at it a little off too, a little funny. Like they was trying to be nice to me, but they didn't know how to be nice to me or something. Like, almost now that I'm thinking back at the time, now I look back and it was like, they was acting funny. It was moving funny, but they didn't, do nothing crazy, but they was acting a little funny. Like maybe they knew something was going on or they was just surprised to see me there. Because remember, it was contracts off now. I'm no longer terror squad on the paper, but I'm still from the block. You know what I'm saying? I'm from that same block, and we rock together anyway. So that was the funny part about it. So we stayed there. Now I'm getting in my groove. I don't see Joe, whatever. So now I'm dancing with a chick. Start dancing. And I see my boy that came in with, Kiss. He was looking at me. He was looking that way, like really like on some straight serious shit. So now I stop from dancing. I go next to him. I was like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I see a serious face. And he goes, nah, this nigga Joe keep looking at me. So now I go like, yo, leave it alone. Probably because, tensions is a little high, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the happened with the business, with the office, the lawyer's office, and they, but don't let it start with you, because then that's how they start. It's come from the side, and then shit happens. So I said, stop, edging it on, whatever. He was like, all right, whatever. So I go back dancing with the chick. 10 minutes later, I look back, see Sunkiss again looking at. So now I go over there again. Hey, yo, what the hell's going on? What's going on? When I'm talking to him, saying, what's going on? Joe comes up and they like face to face with each other. And they looking at each other like, right? But it's not me. I mean, I'm the fucking trying to stop this fight. Like, we got fucking this Angie's party. We got Mary J. Blige here. We got everybody. Is anybody? People don't need to see this right? It's crazy. And Sunkiss, and that was Pun's man. And then you got Joe over here. Joe is, they all in the family. So I'm over here trying to stop him. Yo, chill for real. Like, relax. Stop. So when I'm doing all that shit, Joe swings on Sunkiss. Sunkiss goes over the railing and he does the, he's sleeping. And that thing. So I'm like this. Oh, so now when I look, I'm like, what I'm saying? In my head, in slow motion, I'm like this. Damn, man. It's crazy. Everybody's like, moving around from the space because he's laid down there. Now I'm looking back to Joe. Joe's coming with one for me. So he hits me. Oh. So now I had shoes on. So now I'm slipping backwards and I fall. Wow. But I get up mad quick. And I just get up and start rocking him, because after that it was like, okay, he set it off, right? But now too, I'm catching up to all the fucking actions that was going on in the whole, like the strange shit that was going on. And I'm like, I get up and I start rocking him. Bang, 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 bang. He didn't get no more hits after that. That one sneak shot is all he got. After that, I caught him with at least a 4 to 5 piece combination. He's rocking backwards towards the railing. He's like this, falling backwards. The bouncers now come in and they start grabbing me off of him. So they grabbing me off of him. And there's other bouncers over there trying to help him get up. So when that's happening, the bouncer's holding me, but I'm over here like, motherfucker, you strong on me? Now I want to fight. Now I'm on him, but I'm trying to go that way. While I'm going over there that way, and the guards is holding me, somebody from the back does the old drawing behind me, but I don't feel it. The adrenaline rush was over here. Because it's, my brother just swung on me, like my fake brother or whatever the fuck. We still niggas from the block. Like you from my block, you still my dude. Like just because business didn't, you're the one who wanted me out anyway. I just complied with what you said. So you still over here, whatever. So now you swung on me, and I'm trying to stop the fight between you and him and Sunkiss. I'm not thinking that straight there, but once he hit me, I lost my shit. I just went on him, and that's what happened. It was grabbing him. So the dude comes drawing behind me. I don't feel it. And while that's happening, I'm still trying to get Joe. But now, like, the bouncers start seeing me bleed or whatever, I guess, or whatever. I'm not seeing myself bleed. I'm not even knowing I'm cut. I'm still trying to get Joe. They pushing me out the door now. Now they form like a shield. The Jimmy's bouncers, they form like a shield, like 4 or 5 guys get like in front of me. And I'm over here like, get the fuck out of here. They're going like this to me with their things, like back towards the exit of the club. The side exit. And next thing you know, I'm next to the doors, and the doors open up, and I go outside. I was like, where motherfucker, y'all need to do this? So I don't even know I'm cut. Then when I get outside, I look down and I see the blood on my shirt. And I was like, oh, they got me. Oh, these motherfuckers cut me. And I'm like, this, I feel my sweat, right? So I'm like, I get on my knees. I say a prayer. Please God, help me forgive me for what I'm about to do. Because my mind was going crazy there, and I already seen it. I seen it, like replaying in my head. And then when I said that prayer and whatever, and I was about to get up, the guy Harry from Jimmy's Bronx Cafe detail, his security, he looks at me. He was scared, like, oh. I said, they got me, right? He was like, yeah, they got me, man. But he didn't know what to do, right? This is the head security from Jimmy's. He knows me very well. Nobody's did nothing. Everybody like I guess surprised that this happened to me. And I'm over here trying to find out what's going on, right? Like, let me in the club. Like I'm trying to get in. But then I see Remy. Remy pulls up in a red Mercedes. And she came out of the car, and then, she told me, yo, they cut you. Yo, look, let me take you to the hospital. So I was like, come on, take me. Because I seen Armageddon. Armageddon was one terror squad affiliate also. And I was, in my mind, I was waiting for somebody to take me off because, at the end of the day, Armageddon came in with Joe. So in my head, I'm like, should I give it to? In my head, I'm still flipped. Like now I'm active. Like I'm on, like on one. So I was trying to just go crazy, but for some reason, Remy calmed me down, put me in a car. I took my shirt off, I put it on my face, and she took me to the hospital. And while I was getting stitched up back there, was 2 cops right there while I'm getting stitched up. And they was like, I know who did this. You know who did this. I said, I don't know who did nothing, man. The doctor did it. I don't know what happened. Yeah, you had a fight with Joe. They did it from behind. I know who did it. I said, well, I don't know who did it. The doctors did it. While I'm getting stitched up. So all that shit felt funny to me. At the end of the day, this whole shit was a play that they did. And it's like the Illuminati thing, where, you use people that, and everybody, they played a part to this hit. You know what I'm saying? It's just that...
You think Angie knew what was going to happen?
Nah. I think she was just a regular bystander. They used her, though, in her event. I'm surprised she didn't feel disrespected that happened to me in her event. And, the motherfucker who started, you know what I'm saying? It was Joe. And then you become even closer. The guy who respected your event, trying to stop a fight from happening, event, is the guy you distance yourself from. You know what I'm saying? And start making a relationship with the enemy of the guy. That, you know, because Angie came to my house and she spoke to me and was very caring and very understanding and thought so, you know. But then slowly but surely, you seen that happen, and I seen that it was like she fell in line. Whatever Joe motive alternative was, which was to derail everybody that, you know, that could help his career, whatever, to his side, and made me look like. So it was happening slowly but surely. Even guys like the Tony Sunshines of the crew, you know what I'm saying? Even Pun's cousins and people, like they would still hang out with him and then come check on me. And I'm over here like this, like checking their vibe up. And they checking my vibe. I didn't know they checking my vibe. I thought they coming over to check up on me on some friendship because we know each other before this music. But they was over there spying, you know? So that's how it went, slowly but surely. And then, you know, but that's what Angie, like I said, Angie interviewed him in Hot 97. She gave him the platform. He said his side of the story and never gave me my just due to say my side of the story. So once she did that, I already knew that, you know, the politics was against me. And she was, you know, doing what she was doing.
Did you ever speak to Fat Joe after the incident?
Oh, yeah, he called me up and, because he's still dealing with certain people that, you know, terror squad people that we had inside the business that we knew each other from. And we still dealing with. I was still taking some of the people that was with our old crew with me to do, you know, get some money. So there was relationships there. Flex, you know, saying rest in peace. He put me in the phone with him. Yeah, called me up. I remember Flex was like his child friend, but he was a good dude. You know what I'm saying? He believed in me. He believed in me too. Not that I trusted him all the way, but at least I could trust that much of him. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna do no fake shit. Or if he does, I'm gonna be able to tell. So he was like, please don't put my brother in jail, Cuban, please. I said, what? Who in jail, nigga? Who's going to cops? Who's telling on who? He was like, please, almost crying to me. And I didn't notice that in my head first. But I already knew later on. But I'm like, this nigga playing that. So this thing, his side, whatever. He's supposed to be, right? He grew up with him. But now you copping police to me not to put him in jail. Who the fuck is going to jail, first of all? Because I ain't calling no cops ever. You already know what it should be, Flex, if anything. But whatever it is, you're not talking about that. So then an hour later, he puts on Joe. And Joe was like, yo, you know, I ain't do that to you. I said, I ain't nobody told you. Nobody said you did it to me, doggy. We had a fight, whatever. So my third nigga did it. It's a third person who did it. It was from behind. So he's a coward. And I guess I'm the real Scarface now. I made a joke like that. You know, I guess I'm the real Scarface, not just a tattoo on my shoulder. And he was like, yeah, but you know, this and that. I said, so who did it then? You, Joe, come on. You found their car. They stole your car in Brooklyn. You found it like a week later. I'm sure because whoever did it, I guess did it on your behalf. Right? Did it on your behalf because they were saving you from me because I was on top of you. So I guess, you know, somebody came. And the problem is that I know if you're my man or you're my brother, right? Two brothers got in a fight. But, you know, if you're my real brother, the third nigga who jumps in, we both beating them up, regardless what kind of altercation we have it amongst brothers. So I'm sure, you know, you're going to find out who did it. Just let me know. That's all I do. But what you want, Cuba? I said, listen, just tell me who did it. Give me a gift one day. Give me a call. Have somebody there in the basement for me. I want to talk to them. You know what to do, Joe. I don't got to tell you nothing. He said, all right, cool. Hung up. 2 weeks later after that, his lawyer sends me a letter. A cease and desist order to pay me for my surgery in my face, reconstructive surgery. Like 19, I think it was like $17,000, something like that. He's gonna get he was gonna give me 13,000 plus the surgery. Best doctors in Switzerland is gonna handle this, and I'm like this. Oh, okay, gesture or something. Then I read the fine print. It's like, but you can never in your world tell the story of what happened on Friday the 13th, April the 13th, in 2001 in Jimmy's Cafe. I was gag order for me not to ever say that story. And from then on, I knew that this fat beluga piece of shit set me up. And he was trying to cover his tracks with business dealings and think that I was stupid enough to sign that. So once that happened, then I already knew that this was premeditated, something that he did, and he trying to legally he's trying to get away from it. Like he thought I really was going to sue him or say call the cops on him and things like that. So he was protecting his bag, in other words. So he knew what was he's already in motion with the business plan, while I'm over here thinking about some street code, honor, friendship, how this happened. I know I know niggas ain't gonna let niggas respect me like that, especially the way I held it down. I know somebody gonna come up with a gift for me. And I'm talking about a gift. I'm not talking about no money. You know what kind of gift I'm
You
talking
wanted the
about,
guy
right?
who cut your face
So
delivered to you on a silver platter.
that's it. And call me and let me go there. Just send me an address. Send me an address, a picture, an address, or something. Something. So that wasn't done, right? So I already knew what was going to happen. And then the blackballing started. I wasn't even going to go at him directly. I went to Cali actually to get a deal because I know on the East Coast he was powerful, whatever. He knew more, the business side he was powerful on that, and they wasn't gonna go against him, I guess. So I went, I got some calls from the West Coast out there, and I try to pursue my career out there, and just do what the Pac, the Pac, what happened with Pac, with East to the West, and just find a home so I could get my, my product out. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't going to go at him. I'm still working on my 24 Karat album, trying to buy it back from Atlantic. Like, so I wasn't even on it, like getting on, dissing shit on the lyrical shit or going at him like that. But what happened is that he got word that I was out there in Cali trying to get a deal, and he got his man Steve Lobel, manager for Bone Thugs and Harmony, which is one of his real buddies out there from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? And he got him to stop the deals that I was doing. So he was doing a blackballing effect already. And that's when the Cuban, well, which rhyme are you going to do? The one pun wrote you or the again wrote you? That's when he got that shit out of me again. Now I go and put him on blast. Get big, or I'm going to fuck you up again when I see you. You're a bitch made, lyrical shit, and that's what happened, because I seen the actions that he was taking. And yeah, I didn't see that part of the blocking and all that. So you seen the disgruntled probably employee come out and start fuck him. Yeah, probably that's what he wants y'all to see. But there was reactions and reasons why I did that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to handle it like a man. He wanted to handle it like a sucker. You know what I'm saying? And a guy that I know approached Jay-Z by himself on shit like that was gangster. I'm thinking, baby, that's what the fuck we about. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm not going to sue you, homie. I'm not going to do that. We're going to take it the way we came up, right? That's where the block we from. That's where our G code is at. He turned the whole game on me. He went business on me. He went, let's just say he did the 6ix9ine on me. That's what he did. So there's no respect for that. And that's how it's been ever since. That's how it's been ever since.
So you can never really say that Cuban Link was always on some, and it's crazy that he had a gag order on him, right? So you can never say that he was just a jealous employee, as he says, or a disgruntled employee, or someone that never just got his just due. It really was because, he knew that Joe set him up that night, and like you said, Angie is Mary's best friend. That's why a lot of interviews never came out. Like he said, it made it look like Cuban was just this, this angry former terror squad guy that never got paid. Lo and behold, it was because he knew that Joe got him set up that night. It was never even about the money. I'm in. What's going on? New Eyes, what's going on? What's going on with you? Happy Sunday evening. Happy Sunday evening. But yeah, it's mainly because of that. It was mainly because of that. It was never about the money as much as it was the disloyalty that Cuban felt that happened to him that evening. It was never about the money. So even just what happened to Cuban that night, the reason why I played that is because it sounds very similar to how even Percy was set up in the story of when he got the stabbing. the stories sound very similar to each other. Like I said, that was one of the biggest reasons I wanted to play that clip, is that those stories just sound so similar. So I'm wondering, like I said before, if this Percy, the manager from Terror Squad, was really, was this homicide really because Percy put Terrence Dixon onto him not being paid and saying that he should sue Joe? Was the stabbing because of that? Was the stabbing because of something else? But the dates sure do line up with each other as far as November 2024, the end of last year, and then all of a sudden, then all of a sudden throughout the beginning of the year, Terrence Dixon and Joe have these disputes publicly. And Joe has still yet to even really say anything publicly. It's just too many things that are very telling from this situation that, like I said, bother me and are rubbing me the wrong way. Like I said, as much as I want to say that maybe this is just a shakeup, it's starting to look different. The more you go down the pipeline with certain things, the more it is starting to look very different. Very, very different.